The day of awakening has finally arrived, transforming the world as we know it. In this bleak and frozen wasteland, a group of powerful warriors assembles. All eyes are fixed upon the Death Den, a legendary S-rank dungeon that houses a most ancient evil. It is the very first S-rank gate to ever appear on planet Azure, and for decades, it has stood completely unconquered. Piles of skeletal remains serve as a grim monument to the countless challengers who met their end within its depths. But today, that history of failure ends. The lone warrior Su Ming has braved the Death Den completely by himself. After an immense struggle, he emerges as the victor. He has successfully slain the god-tier aberration lurking inside. Yet at the dungeon's exit, depleted of strength, he receives no hero's welcome. Instead, an ambush is sprung by the very men who were once his comrades. They completely encircle him, their malicious intent radiating in the cold air. A traitor mocks Su Ming, ordering him to stop prolonging the inevitable and hand over the divine artifact he has just claimed. Su Ming's body crackles with leftover power as the devastating truth of their plan crashes down on him. He understands that they laid in wait, ambushing him the very moment he conquered the dungeon, all to steal the prize. He looks at their leader, wondering if he orchestrated this entire treacherous scheme from the very start. From among the traitors, a man named Zhang Tang steps forward, his own sword already drawn and pulsing with power. He confronts his former friend, ordering him to hand over the divine artifact. He appeals to their old brotherhood, saying that for its sake, he will not take Su Ming's life. Zhang Tang smirks, clarifying his offer with a threat to simply destroy all of Su Ming's remaining power instead. Clutching his own magnificent blade, Su Ming laments how utterly blind he must have been. He recalls how he had treated Zhang Tang as a brother ever since he turned 18. They had fought side by side for all those years, and yet he never once saw how venomous his companion truly was. His mind is filled with the crushing bitterness of betrayal, but he decides not to fall so easily. He raises his sword, declaring that this divine artifact is what they are all after. He then unleashes a cataclysmic surge of red and purple energy, creating a massive explosion of power. He stands defiant, daring his old comrades to witness the true power of the Ring of Tao Defiance. He challenges them to come and take it from him. Su Ming scoffs, telling them he is afraid they do not have what it takes. This incredible surge of energy leaves his former allies completely stunned. One of the impatient traitors insists there is no time to waste, urging the others to kill Su Ming. Another traitor advises restraint, warning the group that they cannot afford to be reckless while Su Ming wields the artifact's power. As the intense standoff continues, a new player suddenly descends from the sky, crying out Su Ming's name. He looks up, shocked to see a pink-haired woman named Ren Xiaoman flying toward him. She lands and embraces him tightly in her arms. She explains that she heard someone was plotting against him and was so worried that she had to come. Su Ming reassures her that everything is all right. He tells her their enemies are no match for him now that he holds the divine artifact. Still, one question lingers in his mind as he wonders how his enemies knew his exact whereabouts. As he ponders this mystery, the blonde traitor smirks with cruel understanding. In that exact moment, a sharp pain explodes in his back. Ren Xiaoman has driven a dagger into him, revealing that it was her who told them where to find him. Su Ming stares at her in absolute shock as a sinister red mark glows on the hilt of her blade. He struggles to comprehend her actions, questioning why she of all people would do this. Across the field, the blonde traitor shouts in triumph. He declares that their plan worked and the final catalyst is now in place. He gives the order to activate the imprisonment formation. Instantly, a massive red magical sigil materializes in the sky above, completely trapping Su Ming within its bounds. From the cursed wound in his back, glowing red chains burst forth. They wrap around his body, completely suppressing all of his powers. He recognizes this curse mark as belonging to Ren Xiaoman, realizing she must have betrayed him long ago. At that moment, Zhang Tang walks over to stand beside Ren Xiaoman, casually draping his arm around her shoulders. The blonde traitor mockingly explains that the imprisonment formation was prepared specifically for him. He adds that Su Ming can no longer channel his powers. Ren Xiaoman then adds another layer to the cruelty, admitting that the only reason she was ever with Su Ming was for Zhang Tang. She coldly tells Su Ming that they were only ever using him. It was all because he awakened a rare 9-star talent, making him the perfect tool to acquire the divine artifact on their behalf. Absolutely broken by the double betrayal, Su Ming collapses to his knees. He unleashes a guttural scream of pure rage and anguish at the heavens. With Su Ming now bound and powerless, the blonde traitor gives the final order. He commands his men to kill him and seize the divine artifact. The traitors all charge forward in unison, their weapons glowing with deadly energy, ready to land the final blow. But just as they are about to strike him down, the very ground beneath them erupts. A massive skeletal hand bursts from the snow, followed by an entire legion of undead warriors that intercept the attackers, shielding Su Ming from harm. Su Ming looks on in utter shock, wondering what is happening and who has come here to aid him. The rescuer is a woman with striking light purple hair wearing a hooded cloak. Su Ming immediately recognizes her as Ji Yao, the necromancer. She lands defiantly between Su Ming and his enemies, holding her powerful staff at the ready. She tells Su Ming not to give up, declaring that they cannot let these despicable wretches get the divine artifact. The blonde man merely scoffs at her grand entrance. He dismisses her as just another person who has come here to die. He boasts that with dozens of masters on their side, not even a god descending from the heavens could save Su Ming now. The traitors clash fiercely with Ji Yao's army of undead summons. Enraged by the interference, the blonde traitor declares that all who stand in his way shall die. As Ji Yao joins the fray, someone warns her to watch her flank, but it is a feint. The warning is nothing more than a distraction, and she turns in shock just as a white-haired man closes the distance. He swings his powerful blade wreathed in lightning right at her, telling his former classmate not to blame him for this. Su Ming, still bound by the curse, can only watch in helpless horror. He screams her name, Ji Yao, as the devastating attack connects. With Ji Yao now incapacitated, the white-haired man sees his opening. He tells Su Ming that this is hardly the time to waste energy on someone else. He sneers that now he too can die. The man then plunges his glowing blue blade deep into Su Ming's chest. Leaning in close, he offers one final cruel choice. He tells Su Ming to hand over the divine artifact, and he might consider sparing his worthless life. But Su Ming has one final act of defiance left in him. Gripping the magical chains that bind him, blood streaming from his mouth, he glares at his betrayers with absolute hatred. He calls them nothing but animals as a terrifying aura of red and black energy begins to build inside him. In a final, desperate gambit, Su Ming unleashes a self-destructive ability. He activates his god-tier technique, Annihilation Burst. A truly cataclysmic explosion of raw power erupts from his very being, forcing Zhang Tang and Ren Xiao Man to retreat in alarm. In the quiet aftermath, the battlefield is still. Mortally wounded, Su Ming reaches out, his thoughts focused only on Ji Yao's name. He drags his broken body to her side, cradling her form and filling with overwhelming regret. He wonders why she had to come here for him, reflecting on how many times he had failed her in the past. Ji Yao, with a faint and peaceful smile on her face, reaches up to gently touch his cheek. She tells him that if they are going to die, they should die together. As his life force drains away, Su Ming finds one last surge of indomitable strength. His mighty sword materializes and plunges itself into the frozen earth before him. This act is a declaration against all his enemies. Holding Ji Yao's body close, Su Ming, the Godslayer, swears a solemn oath for all to hear. He proclaims that if he is ever reborn, he will swear an oath to tear them all to pieces, naming Ren Xiao Man and Zhang Tang specifically. His betrayers watch from a distance, confused by his actions. Then, a look of shocked realization dawns on Zhang Tang's face. He understands Su Ming's desperate final plan in an instant. He intends to take the divine artifact with him into the abyss of the Death Den, ensuring they will never get their hands on it. His final vow now sworn, Su Ming tells them that if they want the divine artifact so badly, then they can come and take it. He then leaps from the edge of the cliff, clutching Ji Yao to his chest as they fall together into the swirling, chaotic energy below. And in his hand, the ring of Tao Defiance shines with a brilliant, impossibly bright golden light. The entire world dissolves into a blinding whiteness. Su Ming's hand falls limp, life seemingly abandoning his body. But then his consciousness suddenly returns. He finds himself not in some dark abyss, but staring up at a clear blue sky above a familiar school building. Utterly bewildered, his confusion deepens when a voice echoes from a microphone. An announcer declares the official results of the 127th Awakening Ceremony at Xianjing First Academy. A student by the name of Wang Chang has successfully awakened his power. His new class is revealed to be Enchanter, a non-combat life profession. Su Ming, now a young student once more, stands among a crowd of teenagers. He overhears other students remarking that their school's luck seems quite bad this year. The words, "awakening ceremony," jolt his mind. A strangely familiar feeling washes over him, followed by the shocking realization that he has traveled back in time. He is 18 years old once again, reliving the day of his very own awakening ceremony. As Su Ming stands among the other students, his memories of this exact day return with perfect clarity. He recognizes Wang Chang, a boy he remembered being called Fatty. He recalls that Wang Chang had also become an enchanter in his past life, confirming that this is no mere dream. He puts his new reality to the test, thinking of the students next in line for the ceremony. He remembers that Li Songyang will become a 2-star warrior. He remembers Qian Yu's awakening will ultimately fail. And he recalls that Song Li will become a battle mage. The events unfold precisely as his memories foretold. Li Songyang celebrates his successful awakening as a warrior. He is followed by Qian Yu, who cries in bitter disappointment after his awakening fails. Then, Song Li steps up, successfully becoming a battle mage. With every event perfectly matching his memory, any lingering doubt in Su Ming's mind is erased. A confident smirk spreads across his face as he fully accepts the impossible truth that he has truly been reborn. His expression then twists into one of intense fury as the painful memory of his betrayal by Zhang Tang and Ren Xiaoman flashes in his mind. He believes this second chance to live must be a gift from the heavens themselves, an opportunity to rewrite all of his regrets. His thoughts are abruptly interrupted by a collective gasp from the crowd. On the stage, a younger version of Zhang Tang awakens, surrounded by an incredible purple aura. The announcer excitedly declares that Zhang Tang has awakened a rare hidden combat class, the Magic Hammer Warrior, with a powerful 8-star innate attribute. The students immediately buzz with excitement. They comment that such a powerful awakening is to be expected from the young master of the prestigious Zhang family. Hearing this, Su Ming can only stare at his future archenemy with a cold, burning hatred. While the announcer celebrates the school's new genius, Su Ming feels a light tap on his shoulder. He turns and is utterly shocked to see a young, healthy Jiao standing there in a school uniform. She tells him that she had been looking for him for a while. Noticing his stunned expression, she asks if there is something on his face. Overwhelmed by emotion, he quickly composes himself and says he just wants to congratulate her in advance. His strange comment confuses Ji Yao, who asks him what he is congratulating her for. The vivid image of her dying in his arms flashes through his mind from his past life. A genuine, gentle smile forms on his face. He tells her it is nothing, and that she is going to understand in just a moment. Filled with a sincere, overwhelming relief, he adds that it is so good to see her again. Just as he finishes speaking, the announcer's voice calls out for the next student, Ji Yao. Startled, she acknowledges it is her turn and makes her way to the stage. She places her hand on the heavenly steel. This large, ancient artifact crackles with intense blue energy. As her fingers make contact, a massive surge of power erupts from the stone, completely engulfing her. The announcer's voice, now filled with shock, declares that another hidden profession has appeared. It reveals that Ji Yao has awakened as a necromancer, with a powerful 7-star innate level. The other students are completely stunned, buzzing with absolute disbelief. Su Ming simply watches with a calm, knowing smile on his face. He thinks to himself that this is completely as expected, and now it is finally his turn. The announcer calls for the next student, Su Ming. As he walks toward the stage, Ji Yao wishes him good luck. The other students are not so optimistic. They whisper that it is impossible for a third hidden profession to appear, especially for an orphan like Su Ming. The world of Blue Star is located in the Dragon Country, and it is ruled by the powerful awakened. Decades ago, the day of awakening first arrived. Since that day, every single person who reaches the age of 18 participates in a ceremony to change their profession and become one of the awakened. These chosen individuals have fundamentally changed the face of the world, for they possess the power to bend its rules and gain the wealth to change their destiny. However, this power comes at a great price. The awakened must also face ferocious giant beasts and terrifying dungeons, enduring countless challenges. As he walks towards the heavenly steel, Su Ming reflects on his past life. He remembers that as an orphan he had lived his life relying on relief funds and scholarships. But on the day of that awakening ceremony, he was extremely fortunate to be favored by the heavens. A celestial phenomenon had appeared just for him. He had awakened an incredibly rare 9-star innate attribute and the legendary profession known as the God of Slaughter. Now, standing on this stage in his second life, he is determined to change his own destiny. He reaches his hand toward the awakening artifact. He vows that today he will once again make everyone see him in a completely new light. The moment he makes contact, a massive surge of energy erupts, creating a spectacular phenomenon in the sky. The announcer stares in disbelief. He wonders if this incredible fluctuation could possibly signify the birth of a genius with a 9-star or even higher innate attribute. Ji Yao and the other students are equally stunned by the sight. Su Ming reaches out, ready to feel the familiar fluctuation of runes from his first awakening once more. But this time, something is very different. A glowing sigil appears on his chest. From this sigil, the divine artifact he had died with, the divine ring of defiance, materializes right before him. He is completely shocked, realizing the divine artifact has actually traveled through time with him. Before he can even process this revelation, another unexpected event occurs. A strange sensation spreads throughout his entire body, and a holographic system screen suddenly appears. A system notification declares that the strongest class change godslaying system is now successfully binding to him. The system then announces that it has bound a new profession for him, and his awakening is a success. But instead of his former profession, he has been granted something far greater. The system reveals a mythical profession, the Sword God. Su Ming can only stare in utter astonishment, questioning what a mythical profession even is and what this powerful new title truly means. The immense energy from Su Ming's awakening leaves everyone completely speechless. The shocked announcer wonders what kind of profession could possibly create such a phenomenon. In the crowd, the students debate what this could possibly mean. One of them worries that if it is a life profession, it will be an absolute tragedy for Su Ming. Another student immediately dismisses this. He states that a phenomenon of this magnitude could never be for a mere life profession. As he watches, sweat pours down Zhang Tang's face from the overwhelming pressure, so intense he is unable to move. Su Ming stands calmly inside the storm of energy, processing the information from the golden system panel before him. He confirms that his awakened profession is the Sword God, a different class from the God of Slaughter of his previous life. He touches the system interface, which performs an identification scan and confirms his identity as Su Ming. The system then displays his new status to him. His profession is Sword God, and he now possesses a golden talent called the sublimation of all things. Su Ming is completely stunned. He realizes this golden talent is an entire rank higher than the 9-star profession he had awakened in his past life. A confident smile spreads across his face as he understands his new power will far surpass his old one. Eagerly, he opens his skill interface to see his new abilities. His excitement immediately turns to pure shock. The profession skill screen shows 0% progress with a single stark message. No abilities have been awakened. Su Ming becomes absolutely furious. He grabs the holographic panel, internally screaming about how a golden level talent can possibly come without a single skill. While Su Ming is distracted, the crowd on the ground grows restless, completely confused by the prolonged delay. The announcer finally calls out, asking Su Ming if he has finished his profession change. Su Ming stares at the skill-less interface, seething with anger. He cannot believe that after awakening a supposedly supreme class, he possesses no actual abilities. He wonders if this entire system is just messing with him. Suddenly, the panel displays a new message. It states it has received his feedback and will now continue its guidance. A new prompt directs his attention to the divine ring of defiance, which is hovering in front of him. Confused, he looks at the artifact just as it begins to glow with a brilliant light. The system then announces it has successfully identified the divine ring. As soon as the artifact is identified, the system panel shines brightly. A massive pillar of golden light erupts from Su Ming's position, shooting directly into the sky. The powerful shockwave blasts outward from the stage, forcing the Academy's principal to brace himself against the force. High above the heavenly steel, a massive, glowing, multicolored star materializes, displaying the number 10 at its very center. The principal's eyes go completely wide. He stammers in utter disbelief, recognizing the symbol for a 10-star innate attribute. His voice booms through the microphone, announcing that Su Ming has awakened a 10-star hidden profession, the Sword Controller. The crowd erupts into complete chaos. Students shout about the heaven-defying talent of a 10-star attribute, a level they know is reserved for the entire nation's top scorers. Zhang Tang stares on in stunned silence. Another student remarks that he had thought Zhang Tang's 8-star awakening was insane, but Su Ming has just revealed a maxed-out 10-star attribute. The principal, beaming with pride, declares that this is a truly amazing year for the Academy. Not only have multiple students awakened hidden professions, but now they have a heavens chosen with a 10-star attribute. He admits that while the sword controller profession is not considered outstanding, with a 10-star innate talent, Su Ming's future potential will be truly limitless. As a reward, the principal announces he will personally gift Su Ming a full set of cultivation assisting items. However, not everyone is optimistic. Whispers of disappointment immediately spread through the crowd. Some students call it a complete waste of talent, explaining that the sword controller is considered a bottom-of-the-barrel profession. They elaborate that it is a mediocre jack-of-all-trades class, forced to cultivate both close and long-range combat and split its focus between physical and magic attacks, which makes its combat power notoriously weak. Other students laugh at his misfortune, mocking the disappointing outcome of a 10-star talent being paired with such a weak profession. A few students try to defend him, suggesting that if a sword controller works hard, they can still become a reliable support damage dealer, and that with Su Ming's talent, he can surely grow strong. But the cynics immediately shut them down. They argue that the profession requires double the effort just to gain more cultivation points, and that he will be lucky to even pass the novice dungeon. On the stage, Su Ming overhears their dismissive words. He turns his head slightly, his eyes shadowed, thinking about how they all consider his sword controller profession to be trash. As the crowd continues to murmur, Jiao runs up to Su Ming. With a bright smile, she offers her congratulations. Su Ming returns the sentiment to her. Jiao then encourages him to ignore their nonsense, telling him that being able to awaken a 10-star talent is truly amazing. She acknowledges that the sword controller profession is a bit weaker in the early stages, but she believes that with his talent, it will definitely be no problem. Su Ming gives her a warm smile and thanks her, reassuring her that he did not take their words to heart. He then cryptically adds that their reaction is exactly what he wanted, which leaves Jiao confused. Their conversation is interrupted as the announcer calls for the next classmate. The crowd cheers as Ren Xiaoman, the school belle, walks forward. Zhang Tang is seen encouraging her to do her best. Jiao comments on how popular she is as expected of their school's belle, but Su Ming remains completely silent. Instead of watching, Su Ming turns and begins to walk away from the stage. Jiao calls out to him, confused, reminding him the ceremony is not over yet. Su Ming replies coldly, without even looking back, that he is not interested. As he walks away, painful memories of his past life flood his mind. He remembers how that woman had used his talent, and in the end, she did not hesitate to betray him. He recalls the vow he had made before he died and steels his resolve to get his revenge in this new life. Later, Su Ming walks through the city, observing that the streets seem unchanged from his memories of daily life. However, he knows that some things are now very different. Besides his awakened profession, he checks his system and discovers a skill called total concealment. This legendary skill allows him to hide or rewrite his own information, including his equipment, profession, and skills. He recognizes it as one of the 4 skills he has brought back from his previous life. This realization triggers another memory of the glowing divine ring of defiance. He looks at his hands in shock, finally understanding that the divine artifact truly has followed him through time. Su Ming contemplates the ring, and the system panel lights up again. It announces it is loading the divine artifact. As the ring is integrated, a new message appears. Su Ming has inherited a portion of the skills from the god-slaying profession. He looks on in shock, questioning how it is possible for him to have the skills of a god-slayer from his past life when his new profession is sword god. A detailed status screen then materializes. It shows his name, Su Ming, level 1 with his balanced base stats. His profession is confirmed as the mythical, world-unique sword god, and his talent is sublimation of all things. The skills section now lists 4 abilities: God of Slaughter's Strike, Total Concealment, Divine Shadow Step, and Eye of Insight. With this new information, Su Ming begins to formulate a plan. He thinks of the old proverb about an innocent man becoming a criminal just for possessing a treasure. To avoid being used by others again, and because his current strength is not yet enough, he knows he must hide his information. While his 10-star talent is impossible to hide, he decides he must use total concealment to hide everything about his sword god profession. He vows to firmly seize this second chance at rebirth. He knows from his past experience that the challenge of the novice dungeon will arrive the day after the ceremony ends. With his past knowledge and powerful new skills, Su Ming is confident the novice dungeon will be no challenge at all. His primary goal is to level up faster than anyone else and acquire better equipment. To achieve that, he decides he must challenge the dungeon's most difficult boss right from the start. But before he can do that, he must get his hands on a good weapon. Meanwhile, in a luxurious room, a different scene unfolds. Zhang Tang and Ren Xiaoman are together. Ren Xiaoman playfully teases Zhang Tang for taking her to such a place just after the ceremony. Zhang Tang, still irritated, tells her not to mention the awakening ceremony, complaining that Su Ming completely stole his thunder. Ren Xiaoman, however, is already scheming for the future. She tells him not to be mad, explaining that although Su Ming is just a sword controller, the attributes he awakened are too high. She assures Zhang Tang that Su Ming will definitely have a lot of use value in the future. Intrigued, Zhang Tang asks what she means. Ren Xiaoman smiles faintly and shows him something on her phone. As Zhang Tang looks, his expression shifts from annoyance to surprise. Ren Xiaoman explains her plan with a cold, calculating look in her eyes. She is confident that if she goes and baits him a little, he will definitely take the hook, and he will be of use to them in the future. Following his own plan, Su Ming arrives at a massive skyscraper that houses a weapons shopping area. He takes an elevator up to the 12th floor, where he is welcomed into a weapon shop. As he walks through the store, he observes that the place is filled with newly awakened students, all preparing for the next day's novice dungeon trial. He overhears some students lamenting their lack of money for weapons. They realize they will have to just use their awakened abilities and work like dogs to earn money. Su Ming's attention is then drawn to a crowd gathered around a specific weapon display. They admire a glowing blue sword called the Tyrant's Frigid Sword. It is a diamond-grade weapon that was recently forged by a very high-level greatsword class player. The crowd marvels at its special power to completely freeze the blood inside a monster, but they are also daunted by its price of 1 million advent coins. As they express their awe, Su Ming smirks to himself. He remembers from his past life that this particular weapon is a fake, and that the gang of merchants who sold them were all caught later. His thoughts are suddenly interrupted by a voice. He turns to see a well-dressed woman with short gray hair, flanked by 2 bodyguards. She asks if he is classmate Su Ming, and he in turn asks who she is. The woman introduces herself as Jiang Lan, the vice director of the Jiang'an conglomerate, and hands him her business card. Su Ming takes the card but states that he does not think he knows her. Jiang Lan ignores his comment and, loud enough for others to hear, announces that on behalf of the Jiang'an conglomerate, she will cover all of his expenses there today. She then tells him that she hopes he can do her a favor. When Su Ming asks what kind of favor, she instructs a bodyguard to bring out a photograph. The picture shows a young smiling girl with flowers in her hair. Jiang Lan explains the girl is her younger sister, Jiang Yunqing, who goes to the same school as him and also successfully awakened that morning. She reveals she has already thoroughly investigated the news about his 10-star talent. She reasons that with his talent, tomorrow's novice dungeon should not be too difficult for him. She reminds him that only newly awakened profession changers can enter the novice dungeon and then finally makes her request. She hopes that he can team up with her sister and protect her as she completes the challenge. After a moment of silence, Su Ming flatly refuses, telling her that he is not interested. As he turns to walk away, Jiang Lan is left in shock. She shouts after him, promising that as long as he agrees, he can pick any weapon he wants in the store. But her offer is met only with silence. Furious, she thinks to herself that as a poor student who just successfully awakened, he should not be refusing her. Just as she fumes, Su Ming stops in his tracks. With a calm expression, he turns back and asks if that is so. He then points to the most expensive weapon in the store and declares that he wants it. He demands the Frosty Sky Cold Sword that is worth 1 million. Jiang Lan is enraged by his demand, believing he is deliberately trying to make things difficult for her. She accuses him of being unreasonable and questions if he really thinks his current status is worth 1 million. Su Ming simply reminds her that she was the one who said he could pick whatever he wants. He tells her that if she is not willing to follow through, then they should just forget it. With a confident smile, he offers her a piece of advice. He tells her to have her sister put all her effort into preparing for the test, implying there are many things you cannot achieve with just financial power. Surprisingly, Jiang Lan's anger fades and is replaced by an interested smirk. She admits that classmate Su Ming is interesting and that she has offended him. She then turns and leaves with her bodyguards. The onlookers are completely stunned, whispering about how that student just played the people from the Jiang'an conglomerate. As they leave, Su Ming's phone buzzes with an incoming message. He looks down and sees the sender is Ren Xiaoman. The message is exactly as he remembered from his past life. She asks him if he has always liked her, claims to have had a change of heart, and wants to see him that night on the roof of the school building. Su-ming notes with cold amusement that even though he did not awaken the god-slaying profession this time, her tactics have not changed at all. Remembering his promise for vengeance, he replies with a simple message, agreeing to see her there. With that business dealt with, Su-ming turns his attention back to acquiring a weapon. He approaches a shop assistant and asks about a display of what appear to be raw sword stones. The assistant explains that these are raw weapon stones which have a chance to produce silver-grade weapons. She cautiously warns him that it is all based on probability, and most of the raw stones only produce the lowest grade weapons. To her surprise, Su-ming tells her this is exactly what he wants. He explains that compared to buying a silver weapon at a high price that will soon become obsolete, gambling for one here at a cheap price is the most suitable option. However, as he looks at the raw stones, he thinks to himself that this is not a gamble for him. The truth is that he can actually see the data within these stones. This is all thanks to the second skill left to him by his god-slaying profession, the Eye of Insight. A system panel explains that this legendary skill gives his eyes the true power of insight, allowing him to perceive the fundamental information of all matter. Using this skill, he confidently picks up one of the cheap stones. He knows that an ordinary silver weapon sells for hundreds or thousands of advent coins. Getting one now for just 50 is an absolute steal. He understands this is perfectly suited for him, now that he is back to being a poor student. Su-ming sits with the raw weapon stone, but his actions draw the attention of some other students. One of them, a blonde-haired boy, recognizes him as the kid who just rejected the Jiang'an conglomerate. The boy and his two friends approach Su-ming, sneering at him. The blonde boy mocks him for holding one of the trashy raw weapon stones used for gambling. He laughs, saying he thought Su-ming was some big shot, but instead he rejected a major company's treat just to play with trashy stones. They loudly ask him if he is an idiot. Su-ming, however, is unfazed. He recognizes the blonde bully as Yang Ding, a rich kid he remembered from his past life who specialized in bullying the lower-classmen. Finding the situation annoying, Su-ming decides to deal with it quickly. He calmly turns to Yang Ding and proposes a bet of 5,000 advent coins that he can get a silver weapon from the stone. After a moment of stunned silence, Yang Ding and his friends erupt into laughter, thinking Su-ming is a complete idiot. Yang Ding mocks him, stating that these kinds of raw stones have a 99.99% chance of producing trash, and that he has never met someone who likes to give away money so much. Su-ming simply replies that they will soon see who is giving money to whom. Yang Ding eagerly accepts the bet, and a crowd of onlookers gathers around them. Su-ming declares he will open the stone right now and warns the bully not to even think about backing out. Yang Ding just laughs, telling a poor bastard like Su-ming to worry about coughing up the 5,000 for him. With everyone watching, Su-ming activates his skill, Eye of Insight. His vision shifts, and he can clearly see the glowing red sword hidden deep within the raw stone. With a confident shout, he demands for it to come out and smashes the stone open. A brilliant red light erupts from the shattered rock, and a powerful sword flies out into the air. Yang Ding, his friends, and the entire crowd can only stare in utter disbelief as Su-ming calmly catches the new weapon by its hilt. A system notification appears, identifying his new weapon. It is a black iron crimson edge sword, a low-grade silver weapon, with a special affix called Blood Drinker, which allows the sword to absorb drawn blood to heal its wielder's injuries. Standing amidst the stunned silence, Su-ming holds his new weapon. He thinks that it is a really good weapon. He then adds with a cold, determined look that it is just right for his date that night. The bully and his friends stand in stunned silence. They are completely unable to believe that Su-ming has actually pulled a silver-grade weapon from the raw stone. Su-ming holds his new sword. He casually remarks that the weapon is not bad at all. He takes particular note of its lifesteal ability, knowing it will eliminate his need for a healer in the upcoming trial. A system panel confirms his new acquisition is a silver-grade Xian steel sword with a plus 10% lifesteal effect. As the bully stares in a complete panic, Su-ming points the blade directly at him. He reminds him that a bet is a bet, and the 5,000 advent coins are now his. Defeated, the boy transfers the money. He storms away, shouting that he will remember this humiliation. Su-ming simply advises him not to make such easy bets with people in the future. The shop assistant looks on in utter amazement. She realizes it has been years since anyone in the shop has gotten a weapon from a raw weapon stone. With his newfound winnings, Su-ming walks back to the counter to purchase a matching scabbard, asking if 5,000 coins will be enough. The flustered assistant confirms it is the exact price. He purchases a silver-grade scabbard which reduces the weapon's durability consumption by 50%. Su Ming is completely satisfied, knowing this will greatly reduce the sword's wear and tear. As he holds his newly sheathed sword, a system notification appears. It asks him if he wants to open the hidden weapon materialization function. He decides against it, thinking to himself that it is not yet time. With a determined smirk, he thinks about how he must now take this new weapon and raise it by another grade. Later, while walking through a park, Su Ming reflects on his current situation. He acknowledges that despite awakening as the sword god, he does not have a single usable profession skill. However, he recalls his profession talent tree possesses a very powerful original talent. This talent is called sublimation of all things. This amazing skill can upgrade the quality of any loot, from combat skills to equipment, and it can only be used on an item once. He understands that this talent alone makes his golden grade profession truly worthy of its rank. Holding his new weapon, he decides to test this power. A system notification announces that the talent, sublimation of all things, has been triggered. The weapon sublimation is successful, and it gains the bloodthirst effect. The sword immediately begins to glow with a powerful red aura. A final notification displays the weapon's new, upgraded status. It is now a Xian steel bloodthirst sword of high-grade silver rank. Its blood drinker ability is enhanced to absorb a target's blood through contact, and it has gained the new bloodthirst effect. This new skill grants its wielder a temporary +5 boost to all stats for 30 seconds after killing a monster. Su Ming is pleased with this powerful upgrade. With his preparations now complete, he activates the hidden weapon materialization function. He feels completely confident that tomorrow's novice dungeon will now be much easier. Later that night, Su Ming arrives on the rooftop of the academic building. He stands as a dark silhouette against the futuristic cityscape, his new sword in hand. Rin Xiaoman is already there waiting. She turns with a seductive smile and greets him, playfully chiding him for being late. Her smile vanishes in an instant. Without saying a single word, Su Ming swings his sword directly at her. She lets out a scream and barely evades the attack as the blade plunges into the concrete where she had been standing. She stares in total disbelief, demanding to know what he is doing. With a cold, unwavering gaze, Su Ming tells her he is there for revenge. A painful memory from his past life flashes before his eyes. He sees himself at the moment of his death, holding the dying Jiao while Rin Xiaoman had looked on without a hint of remorse. Rin Xiaoman is both bewildered and angry. She demands to know what he is talking about, reminding him that she just accepted his confession. She holds up her phone, displaying a message history where he had told her he liked her and had asked to go out with her. She yells in frustration, pointing out that he was the one who wanted to date her. She cannot understand why he is now trying to hurt her. Su Ming just stands there, his expression hard and silent. He looks at her with a cold, knowing smirk. He tells her that while she is right about the confession, that happened in his previous life. His mind drifts back, replaying their entire history. He remembered her as the prominent school beauty. He had been an orphan who never received attention from others. He had never thought he would have the chance to even interact with her. He remembered the second day after the first awakening ceremony. He had been feeling dejected when she approached him with a kind smile and asked if he was feeling well. From that day on, he received her concern. He received the very concern he had yearned for his whole life. This had led to his confession by text, their intimate interactions, and the days he treasured most. But those happy memories were a lie, shattered by the image of her and Zhang Tang together, the ultimate proof of her betrayal. Back in the present, Su Ming's face contorts with rage as he shouts that it was all fake. He furiously accuses her. He declares that he knows all about her sordid dealings with Zhang Tang, and that she was just trying to use his talent and abilities. Rin Xiaoman is completely shocked. She stammers that he is spouting nonsense and tries to deny everything. But Su Ming is relentless. He tells her she knows perfectly well whether he is spouting nonsense or not. He states that the beautiful and graceful Ren Xiaoman that everyone sees is a lie. He then leans in, his voice filled with venom, and tells her she is just a vain, despicable and shameless person. At this, Ren Xiaoman's composure completely shatters, and her face twists in pure fury as she drops her act. She screams at him, asking what an orphan like him could possibly know. She venomously spits that if his talent was not worth something, he would not even have had the chance to speak to her. She then threatens him, shouting that neither she nor Zhang Tang will let him get away with this. Su Ming meets her threats with a dismissive smirk. He tells her to bring it on. He suggests that she should be more worried about how the story of her and her despicable lovebird will affect that pure and innocent image she has built. This final taunt pushes her over the edge. Seething with pure fury, she lunges for the sword Su Ming had left embedded in the concrete and swings it violently at him. As the blade flies towards him, Su Ming thinks to himself that her actions are just like in his previous life. This time, however, he was expecting her sneak attack. Just as the sword is about to strike him, tendrils of red energy erupt from the blade itself. It stops the attack in midair, leaving Ren Xiao Man completely shocked. Su Ming explains that he was expecting this, knowing her love for sneak attacks. A system notification confirms the activation of his weapon's blood drinker ability. The red energy tendrils surge from the blade and wrap around Ren Xiao Man. Su Ming reveals his trap was set from the very beginning when he made her the target. The tendrils shoot forward, striking her directly in the face. She lets out a piercing scream of pure agony. She cries out that her face is disfigured. As she crumples to the ground, Su Ming stands over her and coldly tells her that she brought this upon herself. He is about to declare this is his revenge. But she interrupts, screaming that she will have Zhang Tang kill him. Unfazed, Su Ming simply recalls his sword, which dematerializes into his hand. He then turns and walks away, telling her to go back and tell Zhang Tang that he is welcome to come and settle the score. He declares that this slash today cuts them down. As he leaves her crying on the rooftop, he thinks to himself that this slash also cuts away the concern he once treasured so deeply. Later, he receives a notification on his phone. It is a gift pack from the academy. The message is from Principal Wang, a novice gift pack exclusively for him, the 10-star talent, as a reward from the school. The package contains 1 marrow strengthening pill, a combat suit gift pack, and 10,000 advent coins. The next day begins promptly at 6 in the morning. Su Ming holds the marrow strengthening pill that the principal had gifted him. He acknowledges the principal's generosity but suspects it is an act of pity for him awakening the weak sword master profession despite his 10-star talent. He consumes the pill, immediately complaining that this thing tastes really bad for breakfast. The awful taste is quickly forgotten as he is completely engulfed in a brilliant golden aura. A system notification shocks him. The pill has granted him plus 10 to his constitution attribute and 100 experience points. This is enough to instantly promote him to level 2 and grant him 10 free attribute points. As his status screen updates, a new passive talent activates, Innate Sword Body. This talent means he has innately formed a sword within his very heart, which allows him to learn any sword type skill while ignoring all of its restriction conditions. Su Ming is immensely pleased with this development. He realizes that, as expected of his 10-star gold grade talent, he can learn a new talent just by leveling up. Filled with newfound confidence, he smirks and declares that he will show them what he is made of in today's novice dungeon. He arrives at the Xinjing First Academy's teaching novice dungeon area. It is a bustling plaza filled with students and glowing portals. A group of his classmates immediately approaches him. The very same students who had mocked his profession the day before now eagerly ask to team up with him. They praise his 10-star talent and the principal's novice gift package. They suggest that smoothly completing the novice dungeon will now be very simple for him. They offer their own professions to support the sword master's supposed weak points, hoping to ride his coattails to a higher contribution value. Su Ming is utterly disgusted by their blatant hypocrisy. He thinks about how realistic these people are after looking down on his profession just yesterday. He bluntly turns them down, stating that he already has a team. His words are overheard by Ji Yao, who rushes over in surprise, asking him when he had already formed a team. She explains she came to the dungeon area early this morning precisely to be the first to team up with him. Su Ming, caught off guard, tries to explain the situation to her. He tells her what he plans to challenge is not for common contribution rewards and he is worried that she might get hurt if she teams up with him. He then leans in and whispers his true intentions into her ear. He reveals that he plans to go alone and challenge the hidden boss. Just as Ji Yao is processing this shocking information, they are interrupted by a blue-haired student with a confident smile. The student introduces himself as Yen Zi from Class 4. He reveals that his awakened talent is a 9-star Demon Hunter Ranger and he formally invites Su Ming to join his team. Su Ming recognizes Yen Zi from his previous life and, without a moment's hesitation, flatly refuses his offer. Before Yen Zi can press the issue, Ji Yao quickly steps in to intervene. She puts her arm around Su Ming's shoulders and confidently announces that Su Ming has already teamed up with her, so they should all stop bothering him. The other students, including Yan Zi, apologize for the intrusion and finally leave them alone. As the crowd disperses, Su Ming looks at Ji Yao with gratitude, thinking to himself that she is truly reliable. As Su Ming stands with Ji Yao, he glances at a nearby clock, noting that the dungeon's start time is fast approaching. Right on cue, a massive blue portal swirls to life in the center of the plaza. A voice announces that the 127th Novice Dungeon Challenge has officially begun. From the portal, a holographic broadcast of Principal Wang suddenly appears. Looking like he has just woken up from a nap, the principal apologizes for oversleeping and not making it to the scene to cheer them on. He explains the rules of the mandatory one-day trial. Every student has been pre-registered, and inside, they will earn points based on their respective contributions. He strongly advises all students to challenge the dungeon in teams to increase their survival rate and to complete the challenge within the day. As the principal is speaking, Ji Yao turns to Su Ming, only to find he has vanished from her side. She looks around, completely confused. Before anyone can react, Principal Wang officially declares that the dungeon is open. In that very instant, a single figure shoots past the other students and dives straight into the swirling blue portal. The crowd erupts in shock, shouting that someone has already gone in. They quickly identify the lone challenger as the 10-star student, Su Ming. Upon entering the dungeon, Su Ming is hit with a wave of nostalgia. He remembers how, in his first life, he had been both scared and excited, rushing around recklessly just to get more contribution value. A powerful voice then echoes through the dungeon, welcoming the novice transferees. The voice explains the dungeon is a place full of danger and opportunity, and to leave, they must defeat the regular boss. However, it also hints at another, higher difficulty method for those who seek greater rewards. With a determined look, Su Ming declares his new goal for all to hear. He states that in this life, he chooses the most difficult challenge. He is coming to slay the ultimate hidden boss. He finds himself in a lush, moonlit jungle. The system identifies the location as the Raging Tide Forest, a level F zone. He immediately notes that the map for the novice dungeon changes every year, which makes this place completely different from his previous life. He also knows the spawn point inside the teleportation gate is random for every challenger, so route planning will be different for everyone. This also means the monsters he encounters will be different, adding another layer of unpredictability to the trial. As Su Ming begins to explore, he quickly encounters a formidable foe. It is a massive, sentient tree monster with a head of roaring fire and a menacingly carved face. He knows from his past life that this elite monster, although immobile, uses its vines to drag its targets into its burning tree hole and roast them alive. However, his goal is not to fight every monster he encounters. He is completely focused on the hidden boss. Therefore, he decides it is best for him to try and avoid these difficult monsters. He looks at a holographic map, plotting his route through the forest. He thinks about how his reason for rushing in first was to give himself a head start. He needs to scout the new dungeon layout and find the things he needs to challenge the hidden boss. While the map changes every year, he knows that the fundamental strategy to trigger the boss fight will not. He understands he must act quickly, before more people come in and make it harder to collect the necessary items. With his plan set, he leaps into action, bounding through the dense, dark forest. Sometime later, at 7:30 in the morning, another group of students enters the dungeon. A girl with light blue hair and her two male teammates look around the quiet clearing. They note there do not seem to be any other challengers nearby and conclude that the area should be safe. Their sense of security is immediately shattered when the girl hears movement in the trees, alerting her team. They look up just in time to see another student crash down through the foliage. The boy, wielding a hammer, lands near them, screaming for help. The newly arrived team can only stare in absolute shock as the source of his panic chase is revealed. They are two giant, monstrous rats with glowing red eyes. Recognizing them as bloodthirsty rats, the students' courage completely fails. In a blind panic, they decide to split up and run for their lives. Back in the main plaza, the true danger of the trial becomes terrifyingly apparent. At 7:31, a real-time dungeon report flashes above the portal, announcing that 3 challengers were devoured by the bloodthirsty rats. The highest-ranked fallen student was the 6-star talent, Li Dabiao. Ji Yao, who is still trying to form a team, is shocked. She is alarmed that a 6-star awakened has fallen so quickly. She urgently calls for everyone to speed up forming their teams, shouting that the people inside the dungeon need more help. Meanwhile, inside the raging tide forest, the situation is grim. The blue-haired girl who had been chased is now running for her life, all alone and badly injured. In the ensuing panic, she was separated from them all and has completely lost her sense of direction. As she tries to get her bearings, she senses a new presence nearby. Looking up, she sees the silhouette of a massive, ape-like monster perched in the trees above. The creature drops to the ground, its glowing red eyes glaring down at her with pure malice. Paralyzed with fear, the girl can only watch as the giant ape monster leaps directly toward her. In her final moment, she squeezes her eyes shut and screams for someone to save her. Suddenly, a blinding flash of red light shoots past her. In a stunning display of incredible speed, Su Ming appears, ready to intercept the beast. The novice dungeon trial is proving to be far more lethal than any of the students had ever expected. Panic grips the newly awakened as they find themselves scattered throughout the dangerous forest and completely overwhelmed by its monstrous inhabitants. One terrified student laments his bad luck upon encountering a formidable, elite level 5 bloodthirsty brown bear right at the very start of the challenge. His lament quickly turns into a piercing scream as he is brutally impaled by the ferocious beast. The chaos is not confined to just one area. All throughout the dark forest, other students flee in terror from vicious creatures like the level 2 swamp hunter and the level 3 tracking hound, with many of them meeting the same fatal end. Desperate calls for help begin to flood the dungeon's communication channels. They report that the transport points on the map are completely surrounded by monster hordes and request urgent support that is not coming to save them. In the midst of the escalating carnage, Ji Yao finds herself completely alone, surrounded by the lifeless bodies of her own teammates. Stricken with grief and terror, she collapses into the tall grass, trembling uncontrollably as she recalls her teammates' final words, telling her to hide. Barely half an hour has passed since the trial began, and the dungeon's difficulty is already so impossibly high that she doubts if any newly awakened students can possibly challenge it and clear it alive. Elsewhere in the dense forest, the light blue-haired girl is in absolute shock, now cornered by the giant ape monster. Just as the powerful beast lunges toward her to attack, a flurry of swift sword strikes cuts through the air. Su Ming suddenly appears in a blinding blur of motion, leaping gracefully over the terrified girl and landing directly between her and the beast. The girl looks at him in complete awe. She thinks to herself that he is so incredibly strong, and that he has killed the powerful monster in just an instant. Gratefully, she begins to thank him, recognizing him and asking if he is the famous 10-star Su Ming. With a calm and collected smile, Su Ming tells her he was just passing by. He then warns her grimly that he will not be able to save her a second time, revealing that the monster has not actually been killed yet. The blue-haired girl is completely shocked to hear that the monster is still alive. She turns around to see its menacing shadow looming directly behind her. Panicked, she declares she will go and get reinforcements and yells for Su Ming to hang in there as she flees for her life. Now alone with the monstrous beast, Su Ming calmly activates his special skill, Eye of Insight. A system panel reveals the monster's true identity to him. It is a mutated ape king, a level 3 vicious beast with very high strength and constitution, but extremely low agility. Realizing it is a mutated beast, Su Ming understands exactly why it has survived a continuous attack from his silver-grade weapon. The mutated ape king recovers from its injuries and leaps high into the air, bringing its massive fists down in a powerful, earth-shattering slam. But Su Ming easily dodges the ferocious attack. He notes with a confident smirk that the guy's speed is not bad at all and decides to have a little contest with it. Recalling the special skills he inherited from his past life, he decides to use the third one, Divine Shadow Step. A system notification explains this amazing skill is an acceleration footwork technique that instantly boosts his speed by 50% and makes him completely immune to all physical, magical, and spirit attacks and unable to be targeted while it is active, though it consumes a large amount of his stamina. A surge of brilliant teal energy completely envelopes Su Ming's body. He vanishes in an instant, reappearing directly behind the completely confused Ape King, taunting it by saying he is behind it now. The monster roars in rage and spins around to counterattack, but Su Ming disappears again in a flash of bright light. Looking down at the now off-balance and extremely vulnerable beast, Su Ming declares their contest is over, finding the entire thing quite boring and one-sided. The mutated Ape King can only watch in absolute shock, its own terrified eyes reflecting Su Ming's silhouetted form as he prepares for the final strike. Declaring he is now done playing with it, Su Ming unleashes a final, devastating attack that cleanly slices the giant monster in half. A system notification immediately confirms his decisive victory over the vicious beast. As the monster's body dissolves into glittering motes of data, a loot screen appears before him. He has successfully obtained a linear/skill scroll of low-grade bronze rarity. He stands over the vanquished remains of his foe, thinking to himself that even though the skill is just low-grade bronze, it is not a bad find at all for this novice dungeon. Suddenly, he is engulfed in a brilliant, shining golden light as a large, First Blood title appears directly in front of him. A dungeon-wide announcement is then broadcast to all players, declaring that a level 2 sword controller has completed the first kill of the mutated Ape King in the Raging Tide Forest. For this achievement, he is awarded the prestigious title of First Blood. All across the vast dungeon, the struggling students are completely shocked to receive this dungeon achievement notification. As a reward, every single player in the dungeon receives a small healing potion. One injured girl clutches the potion that suddenly appears in her hand, sighing in immense relief at her newfound salvation. The students immediately begin to speculate about this mysterious sword controller. Some of them immediately guess that it must be the famous 10-star student, Su Ming. Others argue that it might be a different sword controller, as there are a few from the surrounding cities combined. However, they all agree that this first kill proves that the newly awakened students do have the strength to clear this impossibly difficult dungeon. Back in his own clearing, Su Ming panics. He has completely forgotten about the public title system within the game. Realizing that this system will expose his true strength, he resolves to be much more careful from now on, planning to use his total concealment skill to hide it beforehand. He's also very surprised that even after half an hour has passed in the dungeon, no other player had managed to kill a single monster yet. As he runs deeper into the dark and mysterious forest, he suddenly stops. A pack of level 3 hungry wolves emerges from the thick bushes, their glowing green eyes fixed menacingly upon him. Su Ming smirks, recognizing these hungry wolves as one of the 3 classic mob types for novice leveling. He decides that this is the perfect opportunity to try out his newly acquired sword-based attack skill. He has already used his unique talent skill, Sublimation of All Things, to upgrade the low-grade bronze linear/skill scroll he had just obtained. The system has triggered the skill Sublimation. This powerful upgrade has transformed it into a new, more potent ability. He now possesses a low-grade silver skill called Iato Slash. This powerful new technique allows him to sheath his sword, focus his mind, and then strike in a single, devastating slash. As the hungry wolves howl in anticipation, Su Ming unleashes his new and incredible power. A massive, crescent-shaped wave of pure blue energy descends upon the pack of wolves. In the clearing, a panicked thought strikes Su Ming. He had completely forgotten that the in-game title system will expose his strength. He realizes that he can only be more careful later. A new plan forms in his mind. He will need to use his total concealment skill to modify and hide his achievements in advance. He then finds it unexpected that despite the dungeon being open for half an hour, no other players have yet managed to kill a single monster. As he ventures deeper into the forest, he suddenly halts. From the rustling bushes emerges a level 3 hungry wolf. He immediately identifies the creature as one of the 3 notorious musketeers of novice leveling, the wolf monster. He lets out an inquisitive A moment later, a sly grin spreads across his face, as he thinks this is just right. He realizes he can use this opportunity to try out his new sword-type attack skill. As the dire wolf pack howls and charges, Su Ming unleashes his newfound power. A system notification announces he has slain a hungry wolf and gained experience points. The screen flashes with notifications as he tears through the entire pack with devastating force, each kill multiplying his experience gains exponentially. By 9:30 in the morning, a system notification congratulates him, confirming that his level has risen all the way to level 9, and he has obtained the title, Legend of the Hungry Wolf. He thinks to himself, success. He acknowledges that his strategy of using the property of his Iato Slash, which allows for long-range attacks, has made farming these low-level hungry wolf monsters much more efficient. He demonstrates the technique once more, slowly drawing the sword body from its scabbard. He feels the generated energy accumulate over a certain amount of time. After locking onto his next target, with a look of fierce determination, he executes a powerful swing. A second massive wave of blue energy tears through the air, but this time, it is deflected by an unseen force. From the chaos emerges a new, more powerful foe, the Wolf King leader LV-10. While Su Ming was achieving incredible feats, other students were just starting to mount their counterattack. At 8:30 a.m., an hour after the dungeon's opening, a party is successfully formed. The group cheers as their leader announces that since they have formed a party too, they should follow up. Another shouts, "Let's go!" as they charge into battle, joining the main force of students pushing back against the hordes with cries of counterattack. In a desperate battle, a blue-haired student lets out a fierce cry as he slices through a massive, mutated field mouse. A system notification confirms they have successfully killed the creature. One student exclaims, "Finally! Finally! Killed a special monster!" The victory renews their hope, and they shout that they can win. They declare that since the main force is here, they will not lose to that first blood player who sent them potions. Amidst the celebration, one of the students exclaims with joy that he has finally leveled up. Their celebration is cut short as a surprising announcement echoes across the dungeon. It's here again, another notification about a player getting a first blood on a leader monster. The system details that a level 9 fisherman player has achieved the first blood on the Raging Tide Forest leader monster, obtaining the title Leader of Leaders. Whispers of disbelief spread through the ranks. A level 9, one student exclaims. "Fisherman," another adds in shock. The students are completely baffled. One of them wonders what the hell is going on, asking how a life profession can be this strong. Another marvels at how he is already at level 9. The scene flashes back 10 minutes to reveal the truth. Su Ming taunts the Wolf King leader, telling it not to think that just because it is a leader, Wolf King, it is anything special. He declares that its opponent is him, but not just any opponent, a reincarnated. A system notification confirms he has slain the silver-backed Wolf King, earning 500 experience points. The alert continues, congratulating him on his level rising to level 10 and noting proficiency gains in his Iato Slash and Thunder Rush sword art, as well as new loot. Meanwhile, Yang Ding and his team have finally dealt with a pack of hungry wolf monsters, but only after expending a tremendous amount of effort. His teammate expresses gratitude that the attack boost scroll, the reward for the dungeon title, arrived in time. He notes that without it, they probably would have been wiped out. He then comments again on the mysterious level 9 fisherman. The mention of the title infuriates Yang Ding. He angrily questions if there is a problem with this dungeon and how a life skill master could possibly reach level 9 so quickly. He feels it is practically mocking them as players. His frustration then turns to his weapon. He complains the damage of this broken novice machete is so low. He seethes, thinking if he had not been scammed out of his money by that kid at the weapon shop, he could have at least gotten a silver-grade weapon. One of his friends tries to console him, saying, "Brother Yang Ding, that kid's luck is just too good." The words only fuel his rage. He turns on his friend, shouting, "You useless rice buckets, shut up." He screams that he was the one tanking the damage the whole time and even shared experience with them, but after killing so many wolves, he only rose to level 2. He feels he is truly the biggest sucker of all suckers. His anger becomes unbearable, and he declares that he does not know if that kid has entered the dungeon yet, but if he meets him, he will destroy him, thinking that venting his anger would be good too. His friends tell him not to be angry, as they have all risen to level 2 now. They reassure him that continuing to farm wolf monsters will become even simpler, but he simply lets out a frustrated humph. Meanwhile, a notification appears for Su Ming. It's here. The system congratulates him on reaching level 10 and triggering the primary profession change task. It explains that the task content is randomly selected based on his actual situation. He knows that in this life, the first class change task still triggers at level 10. He understands that the task content will be randomly selected based on his actual situation. The most important thing, he thinks, is that the opportunity has finally come. He recalls that in his previous life, when he reached level 10, it was already after he had left the novice dungeon. He remembers that therefore, the randomly refreshed first-class change task matched the higher difficulty E-rank dungeon he was challenging at that time. He reminisces about how at that time, he could not complete the challenge at the same level at all. He had to spend quite some time grinding to level 15 before going back to complete the first-class change task. In the end, this greatly reduced the benefit of the rewards he received from that task. He then thinks, but this life is different. A determined look crosses his face. He raised his level to 10 right inside the novice dungeon. A new notification appears. He has triggered the first-class change task, Kill the guardian of Red Rock Cave, a powerful elite monster. The task location is inside Raging Tide Forest. His prediction was correct. It's out. The task content is indeed inside the novice dungeon. He thinks with relief. This makes it much easier. He confidently decides to add all the points gained from leveling up to his agility. He declares that this first-class change task is in the bag. A new notification then congratulates him, announcing his agility attribute has broken through 100. It informs him he has obtained the Sword God Profession skill, Sword Martial Master. This is a low-grade platinum passive skill with a proficiency of 0 out of 100,000. Its effect is that he can now equip sword-type weapons of any level, ignoring all requirements.